Yo, what's good, Dub Nation? Listen, I need every single one of you to stop right now. Drop everything, because what Adam Silver just did to Draymond Green literally 30 minutes ago is the most severe, most unprecedented, most franchise-damaging NBA punishment I have ever seen the league office hand down to a single player in the modern era. And I mean it. Adam Silver just suspended Draymond Green for 15 games without pay. 15 games. That is approximately $8 million in lost salary. That is nearly 20% of the Warriors' regular season schedule. And the reason, a statement Draymond made on his own podcast, The Draymond Green Show, 3 nights ago. A statement where he directly accused NBA officiating of systemic racial bias and named referee Scott Foster as a corrupt official who has personal grudges against black players. Yeah, that was the quote. And now, Draymond is out for the first 15 games of the season. The Warriors are gutted on defense, and the entire NBA is on fire with the political implications. Let me walk you through every single word, because this changes everything. Real quick, like Button pushes this to every NBA fan. Smash it. 1 second. Context. 3 nights ago, Draymond Green sat down for a scheduled episode of The Draymond Green Show. His guest was rapper Chica. But the last 15 minutes of the episode were Draymond alone, talking directly to the camera. And what he said in those 15 minutes has now cost him $8 million. Draymond opened with, and I'm quoting directly from the transcript, "I want to talk to my black brothers in this league about something we all know, but nobody says out loud. And that's the truth about NBA officiating. There is a systemic bias against black players in this league, and I am done being polite about it." He then went on to name several referees by name. Scott Foster was the most damning. Draymond said, and I quote again, "Scott Foster's a corrupt official who has personal grudges against certain black players. Him, Tony Brothers, James Capers, there is a pattern, and I've been in this league for 14 years. I have seen the pattern with my own eyes." The podcast was posted at midnight 3 nights ago. It went viral by morning. And the NBA league office announced the 15-game suspension at 4 p.m. today. Adam Silver held an emergency press conference, wearing a black suit, looked serious, looked angry, and he opened with the following statement. "Good afternoon. This afternoon, the National Basketball Association has suspended Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green for a total of 15 regular season games without pay. This suspension stems from statements made by Mr. Green on his personal podcast 3 nights ago, in which he made unsubstantiated public accusations of corruption against multiple current NBA officials, including specifically naming Scott Foster, Tony Brothers, and James Capers. These accusations are false. They are damaging to the integrity of NBA officiating, and they cross a line that this league cannot tolerate from any player, coach, or executive. Borrow, Adam Silver just officially declared war on Draymond Green, publicly, in an emergency press conference, and using the words unsubstantiated and false. Silver just told the world that the NBA does not believe Draymond's accusations of racial bias in officiating have any merit. That is a massive political statement, and it's going to have consequences that go way beyond basketball. A reporter asked, "Commissioner, why 15 games?" And Silver's answer was chilling. The severity of the suspension reflects 3 factors. First, the public nature of the accusations. Mr. Green did not raise concerns through the proper league channels. He went directly to a public platform with unproven claims. Second, the specificity of naming individual officials by name in a corruption accusation. That is defamatory language against professionals who cannot legally defend themselves in this format. Third, Mr. Green has a documented history of public statements against NBA officiating that have accumulated over 3 seasons. This is not a first offense. This is a pattern, and the league has taken all 3 factors into consideration in reaching this suspension length. Whoa, he just laid out the reasoning point by point, and by referencing Draymond's pattern over 3 seasons, Silver essentially said, "This is the punishment for everything you've said about officials, not just this podcast." That is a devastating framing, because it retroactively holds Draymond accountable for years of criticism. But then, this is the shocking part, Silver did something unexpected. He announced additional punishment for the Warriors organization. In addition to Mr. Green's suspension, the National Basketball Association has fined the Golden State Warriors organization $5 million. This fine reflects the league's determination that the Warriors organization failed to sufficiently disavow Mr. Green's statements in a public manner within the required response window. Specifically, no member of Warriors leadership, including head coach Steve Kerr, general manager Mike Dunleavy, or owner Joe Lacob, publicly condemned Mr. Green's statements in the 48 hours following the podcast release. That silence constitutes a violation of the NBA's collective code of conduct governing team responses to player statements. The Warriors have 30 days to appeal both the suspension and the fine. Y'all, the NBA just fined the Warriors $5 million for silence. For not publicly condemning their own player. That is insane. That is the NBA essentially saying you owe us public denouncement of your own guys when they make controversial statements. Every player in the NBA just watched that and thought, wait, my team has to disavow me publicly to avoid getting fined. That is a massive precedent, and every player's union representative is going to be on the phone with Adam Silver by dinner time. The Warriors organization scheduled an emergency press conference for 90 minutes after Silver's announcement, and the entire NBA world tuned in because everyone was waiting to see what Steve Kerr and Joe Lacob were going to do. Would they defend Draymond? Would they cave to league pressure? Would they publicly separate themselves? What we got was, surprisingly, a masterful, balanced, defiantly Warriors response. Steve Kerr took the microphone first. He was calm. He was measured. And he opened with these words, "Good afternoon. I want to address the National Basketball Association's actions this afternoon regarding Draymond Green. First, I want to be very clear about this. I have known Draymond Green for 13 years. He is my player, he is my brother, and he is a good man. Draymond Green is not a racist. He is not attempting to incite division. What he said on his podcast 3 nights ago was, in my view, an emotional expression of a very real, very well-documented issue that many black players in this league have discussed privately for decades. Whether or not I agree with every specific claim he made about individual referees, I fundamentally support his right to raise the issue publicly. The National Basketball Association can suspend Draymond for 15 games. That's their prerogative under the collective bargaining agreement. But they cannot silence the actual conversation that Draymond was trying to have. And I will not, as head coach of the Golden State Warriors, participate in silencing that conversation by publicly disavowing my own player. BRO. Steve Kerr just publicly refused to disavow Draymond Green. On camera, in the middle of an NBA punishment. That is one of the boldest professional moves I have ever seen a head coach make. And by framing it as a matter of principle, that he refuses to silence a conversation about race in officiating, Kerr made himself the most politically important head coach in America overnight. Then Joe Lacob, the Warriors owner, took the microphone, and what he said was equally powerful. Adam Silver, I have respect for you as our commissioner. Every owner in this league appreciates your leadership, but I want to be very direct with you today. The Golden State Warriors organization does not agree with the $5 million fine you have imposed on us for not publicly disavowing our own player. We believe that violates the professional relationship between a franchise and its players, and we intend to appeal the $5 million fine to the fullest extent available under the collective bargaining agreement. Furthermore, and this is a personal statement from me as owner, I do not agree with the length of Draymond's suspension. I believe 15 games is disproportionate to the offense. I understand the league's need to protect its officiating personnel from unproven accusations, but 15 games is punitive, not corrective, and the Warriors organization intends to appeal that as well. This is not obstruction of NBA discipline. This is the Warriors organization exercising our right to challenge decisions we believe are wrong, and Adam, I will see you in the appeals process. Wow. Joe Lacob just publicly told Adam Silver he was going to fight both punishments in the appeals process. That is bold, and that is the entire Warriors organization circling the wagons around Draymond in the most difficult moment. That's the Warriors way. That's why players want to play for that franchise. Because when things get hard, the ownership fights for them publicly. Then Draymond himself, who was not at the press conference, released a statement through his agent Rich Paul. And the statement is going to be the story of the week. I received the NBA's 15-game suspension this afternoon with disappointment but not surprise. I stand by every word I said on my podcast 3 nights ago. I have not walked back a single claim, and I will not walk back a single claim because the claims are true. NBA officiating has systemic bias problems, particularly against black players. And I will continue to speak about this issue publicly for the rest of my career, whatever the personal cost. To Adam Silver, thank you for at least confirming my central thesis. The severity of this suspension is proof that the league does not want this conversation to happen, which means the conversation must happen. To the Golden State Warriors organization, thank you for standing with me. Steve, Joe, Mike Dunleavy, I love you. To my teammates who I will not see on the court for 15 games, I am sorry for the impact this has on you. To my fans, I will be back, stronger, louder, and righter than before. This suspension does not silence me, it sharpens me. Man, that statement is going to be quoted for the next 10 years because Draymond is essentially saying the NBA proved my point by punishing me for saying it. And every activist, every social justice organization, every civil rights advocate is going to rally behind that framing. Draymond just turned an $8 million suspension into a career-defining moral stand. And Adam Silver, whether he intended to or not, just made Draymond Green a martyr for the cause. Let me give you my analysis, Dub Nation, because this is huge. The NBA just did 4 things in one afternoon. Number 1, they suspended Draymond for 15 games and $8 million, publicly branding his claims as false. Number 2, they fined the Warriors $5 million for silence, creating a new precedent for team player disavowal. Number 3, they gave Draymond a massive public platform for his racial officiating critique that will now be discussed for years. Number 4, they set up an appeals battle that will consume the entire preseason. That is a masterclass in how a league can accidentally amplify the exact story it was trying to suppress. Here's what I think is coming. This case is going to court, essentially. The Warriors will appeal both punishments. The NBA Players Association will file grievances. Every civil rights organization in America is going to weigh in. The NAACP is going to release a statement. Congressional Black Caucus members are going to comment. This story is going way beyond basketball. And by the time it all settles, Draymond Green might come out of it as the most politically powerful athlete in America since Colin Kaepernick. Here's what worries me for the Warriors on the court. 15 games without Draymond means the Warriors' defense is going to be bad. Really bad. And with Steph Curry demanding a Draymond trade only weeks ago, the roster dynamic is going to be chaotic. Draymond's suspension might actually ease the Steph situation by giving both of them 15 games of distance. Or it might make things worse if Draymond comes back angry and Steph is still committed to moving on. This offseason has been a nightmare for Warriors chemistry. Dub Nation, I need your energy. Was the NBA suspension fair? Was Draymond right to speak out about officiating? Do you think the Warriors will win their appeal? And the biggest question, does this actually save Draymond's spot on the roster after Curry's trade demand? Drop it below, smash that like, subscribe, ring that bell. Dub Nation, we stand with Draymond, strength in numbers, forever.